Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Did everybody have a nice Christmas? Fill up on eggnog last night and enjoy family company? Perhaps discuss some crypto around the fire? Anybody do that? Actually, I am curious. Did anybody talk about cryptocurrency this year? That was the hot jammed, 2 years ago when the bull market was going absolutely bonkers. And definitely in my family, it was happening both at Thanksgiving and Christmas. This year, not so much. Didn't really come up. I didn't feel like bringing it up. So I'm just curious, though, how many people actually did engage in those types of conversations. But anyway, for this video, I'm going to cover a few things. So there's a brand new article from Daily Hodl, and it's got some cool quotes from Alex Holmes, who is MoneyGram CEO, talking about XRP on-demand liquidity among other things. So I want to share some of those quotes with you. I've also got an additional update about Binance and XRP, and I had just one yesterday, which I'll briefly mention, but there's another one as it pertains to Binance and XRP. Got a brand new story out on that. And then I'm going to wrap up the video with something that I just found kind of interesting. It's kind of funny to me. It's unrelated to XRP, but take a look at the headline. Mike Novogratz wins his Bitcoin bet against Nouriel. Now, Mike Novogratz, he's a billionaire. He's pretty well known in the crypto space and running a massive hedge fund. Actually, I think he likes to call it, what does he call it? Technically, some sort of crypto bank. I can't remember. I have to pull up the website. I'm not going to do it right now. But he technically sometimes likes to refer to it as something other than that. But they're all about institutional adoption and this and that. Nouriel, mind you, he is known as Dr. Doom. I don't know who came up with that, but he's known as Dr. Doom, and he could not be more anti-crypto and anti-Bitcoin specifically. But yeah, he thinks that there's nothing to any of this, and it's all just going to go away. It's a Ponzi, and that's it. And of course, the people that have these types of stances, you know why, right? They just have the wrong valuation model. They don't get it. So Bitcoin doesn't produce something, and so it's worthless. XRP, presumably the same case. Well, you can make cases specifically against Bitcoin, and I'm probably going to be on board with a lot of them because I think that utility matters. But if you think that the entire asset class doesn't have any genuine value, I'm sorry, you're not getting the whole picture. You can do all sorts of things with this type of technology, with a digital asset native to a particular blockchain that you can't do otherwise. And as it turns out, people actually value that, and that's why they're assigning a price to it. People actually value that. Now, it's bonkers price-wise all over the place because people don't know where all this is going, but that's just, par for the course because I understand how humans behave. It's just, there's a frenzy around a new technology. This is pretty much what happens, right? So I'm going to get into some more specifics on all this, but before I speak any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, or else your life will never quite be complete. All right, so this first piece, titled Perfecting Instant XRP Remittances, Key Goal at Payments Giant MoneyGram, CEO Alexander Holmes. And so let me go through. I don't want to go cover this entire article, but I do want to cover the quotes here. Take a look at this. And so he stated this: I think blockchain is an amazingly interesting technology. I think there are questions out there about what is the value and future of cryptocurrencies in that space. We're using Ripple's cryptocurrency for now, XRP, as a medium of exchange to move from dollars to pesos. And XRP sits in the middle. What the value of all that becomes longer term, I think, is interesting. And really, the only dispute I have with that sentence is that he said Ripple's cryptocurrency for now. That's not quite the right way to word it, but it's okay. We'll let that go. It's not grinding my gears. Don't worry. Gears are perfectly functional. They're not getting ground up. We're good. Here's another quote from him. It's really like the other half of that, actually. But what I will say is that to the extent that we can perfect the model, that we can truly facilitate instant flow of funds, instant money movement with the data, and allow a customer in country A to get money into country B seamlessly and efficiently, I think it's what everyone is demanding. All right. And then when asked whether he believes other major payments players like Western Union will utilize RippleNet, Holmes said he can't speculate on specifics, but he believes Ripple's network of financial institutions will continue to grow. So here's another quote from him. When you think about utilizing mobile technology and phones to access information and data and financial information is critically important for everyone in the world, to be quite honest. And so I think others will participate. We are seeing other smaller money transfer players participating in RippleNet. Whether companies like Western Union decide to move in that direction or not is really up to them, but I can see this becoming a much bigger partnership from a variety of different firms. Yeah, most certainly, and I still think that most of the firms that you see jump on board first are going to be smaller entities, whether the remittance companies or banks, especially banks that are paying their larger competitors to tap into to their liquidity, which is really just pre-funded Nostro accounts the world over. That you're going to see less of that over time as on-demand liquidity continues to take hold, utilizing XRP as a bridge currency here. And here's one more quote from him right here. This is Alex Holmes again, MoneyGram CEO. I think replacing incumbents like Swift are large aspirations. I think any incumbent has a foothold in the market for a reason. Every bank is tied into Swift. Most major corporations are tied into Swift. And I'll say yes, and I agree with him there, by the way. There are reasons that incumbents are around. Now, as it pertains specifically to Swift as an incumbent, it's because until a few years ago, humans had not devised a single solution to solve the train wreck that results from pre-funding accounts the world over. There has been no additional settlement solution devised, period. Even right now, as we sit here wrapping up the 2019, we're at the end of December here, this is the only solution. Utilizing XRP as a bridge currency is the only solution that humans have actually come up with as a global solution specifically for settlement. And it solves the issue of trust, and that is fundamentally why this actually matters. So why is Swift around? Well, you needed a truly disruptive technology that, again, just didn't exist until blockchain was invented a decade ago. That's the truth of it. And here's the other half of his quote, though. And yet, you continue to see new types of services come along to try compete with them and drive differentiation in the marketplace. Whether you can ever displace or completely replace is always an interesting thought to ponder. But certainly, securing larger and larger pieces of that pie is definitely not off the table. And so there you go. I think that's the most reasonable way that he could put it right now. And I didn't expect him to have some sort of like mega verbal smack takedown of Swift. Not necessarily. He's thinking about it from as pragmatic approach as he could possibly be taking here, but acknowledging yes, there's certainly an opportunity to take a huge piece of the market share that Swift is currently enjoying. It's certainly not going to last. Not in the way that it is today. It's going to change. It is changing. It already is, absolutely. Now, next, take a look at this headline from you today. You can now buy Ripple's XRP on Binance by directly adding your Visa card. Now, that's literally not true. You can't buy Ripple's XRP on Binance because their XRP is held in either an escrow or their own private wallets. They do have some XRP that's not held there. But you can buy XRP from others on Binance, which is what they actually meant. I like to call it Ripple's XRP. Unless you're referencing that XRP, which Ripple holds, which is not the case here, don't call it Ripple's XRP, damn it. You just sound silly. It's just not the way to go here. But it's also, what was really interesting to me, even before I read this article, again, think about this. You can now buy Ripple's XRP on Binance by directly adding your Visa card. I was like, specifically XRP. Why are they citing XRP? And because you see down here, you can look at the first sentence. Binance, the biggest exchange by trade volumes, has just announced support for purchasing Ripple's XRP along with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Binance Coin by binding Visa debit/credit card. So all those coins, which one did they put in the headline? It wasn't Bitcoin. It wasn't Bitcoin. It wasn't Ethereum. It wasn't BNB. It was XRP. Now, why are they doing that? I'm telling you, and I love highlighting this. I've been kind of making a point of this over the last several weeks, just from time to time. Crypto media is nuts for XRP, and this is what's getting the clicks. And it makes me think that that's the most, if I had to hypothesize, and that's the reason I wanted to mention this, I think that the XRP community is the most engaged community in all of crypto. Seriously, I actually really firmly believe that. I think they're probably even outstripping Bitcoin at this point in terms of just pure engagement, research on a regular basis for many people on a daily basis. And I'm one of those nerds out there, or dorks, whatever you want to call me, for researching this stuff and probably spending too much time on it every day. But I have a lot of fun doing it. I like sharing what I learn with you. But there's a reason this is being done here. Nonetheless, it is cool, and so this can certainly help with liquidity as long as you're not too concerned about consumers taking on additional debt if they're not paying off their credit cards each month. But even so, I guess it's good for XRP in theory. And here's the other story. Binance rolls out new support for Ethereum, and XRP launches mobile app in the US. And so part of this, I mentioned, if it's in this, or maybe it was separate, I reported just the other day about additional pairs, but this mobile app, this I just found out about today, which is kind of conceptually interesting. So they're going to be launching this. Now, if I recall properly from when I read this a little bit earlier today, I think it was just with Android. I wanted to say, where's that part? Because I didn't want to read this whole article. I just want to kind of mention it here. But I think it was specifically just with Android. Here, I'm just going to type that in, and I bet it'll pull up. Yeah, there we go. In addition, Binance has launched a new Android app for Binance US, a US-focused crypto exchange that launched in September through a partnership with California-based BAM Trading Services. So my understanding is that it's at this point explicitly for Android, but you would think that that would ultimately be available for iOS devices as well. But all good things in time. Nonetheless, I just thought it was kind of fascinating. They're going to make it easier to buy and sell, and that should be good for any coin that's on the platform then. One would think, right? Wouldn't you? All right. Last here now. Mike Novogratz wins his Bitcoin bet against Nouriel Rabini. Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz gleefully took to Twitter to announce that he had won his bet against unabashed crypto critic Nouriel Rabini. Bitcoin was still above the $6,000 level on November 25th. And I believe they meant to write December 25th, but, it's crypto media. And so here's a tweet on December 25th, yesterday, from Mike Novogratz. On Christmas. Well, I had hoped to win this bet by more than 1,000, but I'll take it. Nouriel Rabini and Michael Novogratz battle over Bitcoin and crypto, and then there's a link to that original story dating back to a little bit earlier this year. And so Novogratz and Rabini duked it out over the future of Bitcoin during the SALT 2019 conference that took place in May when Bitcoin was trading at about $6,000. Novogratz decided to challenge Dr. Doom to a bet. And here's the quote: "If at Christmas time it's above $6,000, you have to wear a shirt that says, 'I love Bitcoin.' If it's not, I will wear a shirt saying Nouriel was right." And so there you go. Ultimately, Mike Novogratz was right by the time December 25th rolled around. It was over that. Of course, it'd be funny if mere days after that Bitcoin tanks further, but we can talk about price in another video. That's it for this one. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!